Hey guys, this is gonna be the first episode of my channel. So I'm gonna be playing chess games of my own, and I'm gonna be trying to walk you guys through what I'm thinking as like a about 1900 player. I've gotten 2000 in the past, but stuck around like 1850 to 1900. So yeah, so let's try to get into it, I guess. So again, just gonna be playing like a 10-minute game, and I'm just gonna be thinking about like talking about what I'm thinking, what I'm seeing, and after the game's over, we're gonna do some analysis. So using the engine and of course myself, gonna be trying to figure out what went wrong in the game, or in the rare case, what went very right. So let's get into it, and yeah, let's start the game. So play, and here we go. I'm playing in focus mode, so I don't see any ratings or anything. Don't want to get distracted. Okay, the Caro-Kann. I'm gonna play d4 to control the center. And here, unfortunately, I know it's really cringe, but I do go for the exchange variation. That's because I don't want to get into the theory of everything else. I don't know the theory, so I'm just gonna play into the exchange, and I hope that it's the best. So just developing pieces right now. I'd like my bishop on this square. If he does play d6 like this, I'm gonna play bishop f4 because I don't want him to go to bishop d6, just like how my bishop is good on d3. His bishop would be good on d6, and I don't want him to get that. So bishop f4. So there, he's gonna let me castle. He's not gonna go to their square. If he had gone to the square, I'd trade immediately, but that's fine. Maybe I wonder if I can put a knight here immediately. I think I'm gonna try to put a knight here. Very interesting how this bishop is also not developed yet, so it is gonna be weak for a while, it seems. Oftentimes you'll see like players play like bishop g4, bishop f5, just trying to get it out of the way. Bishop g4 is pretty common, just pitting the knight to our queen. So we can't go into the center like this, but let's go into the center. It does seem like a pretty good square for a knight, so I'm gonna put it there. If he's gonna give it to us, we're gonna take advantage of it. Okay. And he comes out with knight c6, which is expected. He's hitting this pawn as well as this knight. I do not want to trade this because he takes, and maybe eventually down the line, like he could bring like his queen here and trade off this bishop eventually or something. Also, this knight's just really nice on that square, so I'm just gonna play c3, protect this, and maybe I could come over with this other knight to replace it eventually. If he takes, I'll take with the bishop, and I mean the bishop in the middle is also fine. It's better than where it is right now, obviously, because it's not really looking at much. But yeah. So we're thinking of ideas like bring this knight to the game, by bringing it to f3, so it can become an actual piece. In this opening, there's also always ideas of queen c2 behind your bishop, forming the battery, hitting the h7 pawn, but the knight is right here still, so it's still a little premature, but okay, queen b6, attacking this pawn, so I could just play here and protect it, and I think that's what I'm going to do. Yeah. Now he only has one piece left to develop, so I'm expecting him to play this. Again, doesn't make sense for me to trade here. Or actually, if I do take here, then this knight is actually overloaded because it has two jobs, protecting this pawn and protecting this bishop. You can't do two jobs at one time, so we're going to make it get out of this square. We're going to remove the defender of this h7 pawn, and that could actually just win us a pawn. So if he does play this, we're going to take him immediately and take this pawn. He's going to move over, and we're probably just going to bring it back, because if we don't bring it back immediately, he has g6, which actually traps our bishop, and we might just have to sack for pawns and other things. Okay, so he's going to play h6, kind of recognizing our threat. He's a good player, I guess. Okay, so we have some time to. He's giving us a move to kind of just like develop our own pieces again. So I'm going to continue with that idea of bringing this knight here. It's always a good idea to develop your pieces, so that's what we're going to do. Again, he wants to probably develop this piece of somewhere, but does seem kind of complicated. Yeah, he's gonna bring it here. Doesn't seem like he has much else. We could take, but his knight just takes back, and we aren't actually doing anything, you know? So no reason to trade. Our knight's really good on this on the central square. It's strong. It's attacking like quite a few squares right here. But this bishop is kind of just blocked in. Okay, here we go. Rook on our queen file. So now he's threatening moves like this, because if we take, he takes our queen. How do we stop him from coming here? Very easy. I think we can just play this. We could also just move our queen out of the way, but I don't know if I want to bring my queen out of the way. I still like it defending here. We could play this, but I don't know. Maybe this is better. Eventually we will hit this square. Because this is also kind of gone, this threat. I don't know if we want the queen there, but maybe there will be some tactical things that will offer themselves. So a3 is perfectly fine. So this bishop, just kind of Caro-Kann things. This bishop is black's bad bishop, and it's actually very similar to French because the pawn chain for black is on light squares. That light square bishop is just going to be stuck inside. It's going to be attacking. It's going to be only defending. It's going to be tied down to defending. For on the other hand, like the dark square bishop, it can actually kind of go through the lines, attack us. It's not just tied down to defending. So that's also another reason why I don't want to trade my awesome knight for this sad looking bishop. For me, this is my good bishop, and this is my bad bishop. But my bad bishop's probably better than his bad bishop right now, because it is looking somewhere at least, but yeah. Let's see what our opponent decides to do. He's thinking quite hard, and he's gonna play a5. I don't know if it's like actually doing anything or what. Feels like an empty move. No, doesn't have much bite to it, you know. I think it might be time to start like lining up these pieces on this file. This is a semi-open file, but the problem is that this f pawn is still there. You might play this eventually. Like, let's say we play rook e1. He's gonna play a4, and is he gonna try to bring this knight over here? That would be an improvement to the situation. So maybe if we play this, we could stop him, but this is gonna create a very big weakness on the square. I don't know if I like that. If I play this, he plays this, and he's forking our two pieces. I move. He's gonna take my bishop, and then I'm gonna take back. And he has the better bishop. Also, I actually have to take back with the knight, or else I lose this pawn as well. So don't want to come here, obviously. Maybe if I go queen here. No. Let's just get my queen out of the way completely. If you play something like this, I can play knight d2 and make sure that this square is always looked after. Maybe I don't need to do that right now, actually, at all. We're going to commit to that only once he does this. But knight d2 is going to block our queen, so maybe we do have to put a rook behind this. And this is the weaker spot. a3 is now protected by the pawn, so we might play this eventually. So rook, maybe a4, then we're going to play rook a to b1 because we're looking at knight a5. So we want to meet knight a5 with knight d2. So we're still covering both of these squares. Colors. Okay, that's a interesting move because he just drops a bishop. That's really sad. And he's going to resign. So that was an unfortunate game, but we won. So I got 7 rating points off that, and I can see already that the computer says I have 0 mistakes, 0 blunders, and 0 missed wins. But still, I think it's pretty important to review this game because of this a5 idea, where he is creating some counterplay on the queen side. So that's very interesting to look at. So I'm gonna stop the recording for the game now, and we'll be hopping into the analysis shortly. Okay? I'll see you guys soon. Bye bye. Hello guys. And here is the analysis segment of the video. So again, we played white in a Caro-Kann exchange variation, and it was a pretty fast game because our opponent unfortunately blundered their bishop on move, let's see, 15, or I guess 14, and then we captured back on 15. So even though it was a quick game and the computer did say that, I mean, it seemed like a pretty solid game, there's still always something to look at when we're analyzing. And something that I wanted to look at really was the a4 move, the a5 move, black's a5 move, which created some sort of counterplay idea because he could get a4 and maybe he was controlling like some squares like b3, and it was very interesting. But let's look at anything we missed. And I want the engine like knight e5 here. Maybe it's just really early, so it doesn't really do anything. It just seemed like because black is just kind of castling and just giving away the center, that we just have some sort of idea. But oh, queen b6 is actually a problem, is it not? This is interesting, actually, right here. How do you defend both of these pawns? That's a good question. The engine just says he'd go here, but I don't know if I like that because if he takes, he is hitting both of these now. Oh, but I do have bishop check here. But another problem with this move is when I play b3, and if he doesn't take, this pawn becomes kind of weak because I don't know if I want to play something like c3, because c3 is most likely what I'm going to play. If I leave it here, obviously he's going to bring his rooks and make sure that this is taken care of. So obviously we want to move it. If we go c4, eventually, he's going to take, and if we take back with our pawn, that's possible, but it could also become pretty weak. So we might take back with like a minor piece, like a bishop. If we take back with a minor piece, then all of a sudden our d pawn is isolated, and that gives black another easy target to go after. So that could be a problem. And if we go c3, it's still kind of weak because this knight cannot be sitting on b1 the entire game. So I did miss this actually. So maybe c3 is, yep, c3 is an idea that the engine is coming with. Knight b to d2 is interesting, but same exact idea. If he plays queen b6, I'm sure we can probably just play, yeah, queen b1. Queen b1 works because we're still making the diagonal here. It's even talking about knight b3, which is really interesting. I don't know if I like my knight there because I always like putting my knights in the center, and this knight on d2 ends up kind of serving as like a backup to the knight that's going to go to e5. But yeah, that was an interesting idea. And c3, of course, is the best move. Here, queen c2 is best move because of the diagonal. It's just nice. He plays h6 because it just seems like a problem to him. And yeah, you guys can see the engine doesn't. Yeah, I guess it says it's the second best move, just taking here, which is really interesting to me. I don't know why, because I feel like we do have the bishop here, so maybe there is some sort of idea of like attacks going on here. Maybe the knight can come up somewhere. I don't know. But rook f to e8. Let's see if he plays something like this. Rook f to e1. I don't really know. I don't really see anything. But engine likes that. I played what I played, which I think is okay enough. It also likes a4, which is very interesting. I guess forcing this queen out because right now the queen's in a pretty weird spot actually. If I do play another move, the queen has to go all the way back because he doesn't actually have any other safe squares. If he goes here, we play knight g6 with the bishop attacking this, the queen, and our knight is attacking his rook, so he's going to lose something for sure. So he's going to go back here eventually. And I guess then we can keep developing. So that's interesting. But we just developed our knight, which seems good enough. He plays here. And maybe a3 was a bit weakening. This is interesting. Rook a to b1. I don't know. I don't know. The engine really seems to like, the computer seems to really like knight takes d7. But I, as a human, despise it. I don't know why, but it just seems like a really bad move to me. Because now, I mean, we give up our central knight. So we kind of lose like our strong piece. He loses his bad bishop. Eventually, maybe this queen will go back, and then this knight will come here, and there will be ideas of like playing like this, and then bringing this knight over here, and then coming to b3. And I don't know if I actually even like this for white. So I don't know, but the engine does recommend that. It also recommends rook a to b1, which is kind of what we were thinking of a little bit. Actually, weren't we thinking of that? Queen e2. Yeah. So that's why Queen e2 kind of messes this up, because then we have to bring all of these pieces backwards. Is what I was thinking. So if you play something like this, Rook a to b1 shows up, so I'm gonna play Rook a to b1. And then if you play something like this, Rook f to e1, it's not even worried about this. And I still don't understand the knight takes this thing idea. But I guess it is an idea somewhere out there. But if we just do Rook f to e1, he does get this, and everything pieces still feel a little weak. Okay, but it seems like black must have blundered something here, because let's see, knight takes d7, bishop b5. Oh, very interesting. So maybe that was the idea all along. Was that the idea all along? That was the idea all along. Okay. That's why that wasn't a threat. It wasn't the idea all along, because I don't know why it's recommending it earlier, like here and stuff. Maybe like here. I don't know why it's recommending it here, but that's really interesting. And then, of course, if he goes back here, not the best. And actually, maybe bishop takes h7 is slightly better, because you do trade down pieces, and then you get the same fork with the free piece. And queen a7 takes, bishop takes, and you'll probably play knight e5, just try to trade down more. Because the more you trade down, the bigger your advantage is. I mean, here we're just up a full rook, so it should be fairly easy to convert. So, I mean, in this kind of case, sometimes I struggle a lot with like converting, like even when I have an advantage, how do I convert the advantage, right? So I think in this kind of case, I might play like this, like something like a bishop g3, and then start pushing this pawn, because I want to break this open. I want to actually like open everything up. It says like a4. Okay, I'll play bishop g3, and maybe he'll play queen b6. Of course, I can just play rook b1 here, and queen d8, which is a very interesting move. It doesn't make much sense, but I'll just start pushing my pawn here, because I just want to break everything open. Right now, we do have this semi-open file, so this is going to be a weakness in the future for black. Right now, it's not weak because of this f7 pawn, but once we push something like this, and actually, like you can see that the engine does want to stop something like this, and now it actually gets a little harder. Maybe h4 is an idea. Interesting, and h5 is, it meets h5, so maybe that doesn't actually work. So bishop f2. I'm thinking maybe like this, and then now you're threatening this. Bishop d6. Interesting. I'll just defend my piece. But you will certainly make a breakthrough because there's also this idea. Yes, black has the semi-open file, but black just doesn't have the pieces to actually use it. So we can also make a breakthrough here, double our rooks, queen, and just infiltrate his back line. So there are all those sorts of ideas. Well, the game was pretty short, so I've kind of just been rambling on, just trying to give some sort of like advice for your own kind of games, and just trying to like think about like what could have happened in this game if the opponent had not resigned so early. But the game is over, and I think we've analyzed enough of what very little was of the game. So that was a pretty good episode for very pretty good first episode. So I'll see you guys later, maybe tomorrow for the next game. Bye bye.